The committee says Eastman tried to convince then Vice President Pence that he could overturn the election results, which of course Pence could not legally and ultimately decided not to do. But now, in a conversation caught on camera by a Democratic activist posing as a Trump supporter, Eastman admits on tape that was indeed the plan. Have a watch.
But I mean, just supporter to supporter, why do you think that Mike Pence didn't do it?
Well, because Mike Pence is an establishment guy at the end of the day. And all of the establishment Republicans in D.C. bought into this very myopic view that Trump was destroying the Republican Party. And what Trump was doing is destroying the inside the Beltway Republican Party and reviving the Republican Party in the hinterland, right? What they all consider to be, deplorable flyover country. And this uprising that Trump got ahead of, he didn't create the movement. The movement was there, and he saw it and got ahead of it.
CNN reached out this morning to Eastman's office for comment. We will update you if and when CNN hears back. But let's talk about the significance of this, being caught on camera, describing, it seems, Ellie, our CNN senior legal analyst, former U.S. Attorney Ellie Honig. Ellie, Eastman, after the memo that he drafted describing exactly this plan as to how the president could overturn the election, he then did an interview with the National Review Online, said, no, that's never intended to do that. Here you have him on tape saying, that's exactly what we intended to do, in effect. And the only reason Pence stood in the way of this is that he's, in Eastman's terms, an establishment guy. You're a lawyer. How damning is this video for the investigation or any other investigation into the 2020 election?
Well, it's completely damning for John Eastman, Jim. And let's step back and remember who John Eastman is. So he's this lawyer who Trump discovers right when he's in the process of trying to steal the election. And Eastman starts telling Trump these really lunatic legal theories, I put legal theories in scare quotes here, on which Mike Pence can reject the electoral count. He writes this 2-page memo. It's full of lies, including this allegation that 7 different states have put forward competing slates of electors. Not true, and it gets worse from there. Eastman's memo says that at some point Mike Pence can, and I quote, gavel Trump as president, as if the vice president has the legal authority to just bang a gavel and say he's reelected. It's crazy stuff. Then Eastman goes and does this self-serving interview with the National Review where he says, no, I was trying to talk Trump down. I was just laying out a hypothetical, even though that's not the language in the actual memo. And he even says, Eastman says, I don't remember who asked me to even write this memo. Well, this tape really brings us back to reality, which is Eastman meant what he said in the memo. He was right there with Trump, trying to lead him down this very dangerous path.
What's interesting, too, is as we look at this potential subpoena and what could be learned from John Eastman, Jamie Raskin, who of course serves on the panel, told CNN the committee needs to determine to what extent there was an organized effort against Vice President Pence, which would obviously imply more than just write this memo and more than just John Eastman, Ellie.
Yeah, Eastman's memo really is the sort of legalistic version of what we heard those people chanting in the Capitol, hang Mike Pence. I mean, Eastman is saying Mike Pence can and should do this under the Constitution. That's what it says in the memo. That's what Eastman tried to walk back. Again, Eastman tried to talk to the National Review and tell them, no, I was just sort of spinning hypotheticals. That's not what the memo says, and that's not what we just heard Eastman say in that tape. Eastman very much meant exactly the words he put on paper, which were Mike Pence has the power to do this, which he does not, and that Mike Pence essentially should be blamed if he declines to do this, as thankfully he did.